Welcome to the Vera show where testimony, reality and truth meet you at the front door. Perspective to propose. Politics, religion, we talk about the real world we live in. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it on the Vera show. From purpose, uplift, encourage, inspire, motivate, and let's talk about it on the Vera show. The Vera show.
Hello, hello, hello. I am so excited today. I know I'm always excited, but I am really excited today to have my guest, Miss Donna Knutson. How are you today?
I'm doing really well. Thank you so much for having me on your show.
Well, I'm just excited that you're here, and I'm going to share with the audience a little bit about Donna Knutson. She is a book strategist, writing coach, and founder of Write Journeys, where she helps aspiring and first-time authors turn their ideas, expertise, and lived experiences into books that create connection and opportunity. With more than 30 years of experience in writing, teaching, journalism, and coaching, Donna specializes in helping mission-driven women gain clarity, build confidence, and finally finish the books they've been carrying for years. Donna has appeared on Summit's podcast and is available to deliver her signature speech to inspire your audience to share their stories. They can do it, and they don't have to go it alone. Her signature speech is the 3 keys to writing a book that connects, converts, and creates opportunity. And with that, I am just elated that you are here. And right now, I'm going to ask you to share with our audience the question I ask every guest. What was your childhood like? How did it impact you? And how did it impact on the journey that you are now on?
Well, thank you so much for that's a big question. And I would say that I was a very lucky child. I had parents who really stressed education and doing your best, being high performing. One of my parents, my father was an alcoholic, so that did really help shape my personality, kind of made me into a little bit more of a driven person, probably more someone who was looking to control chaos as opposed to create chaos. And that actually helped me, I think, be such a focused student and employee for a very long time. What I will say is that as I grew, and those kinds of coping strategies that I learned when I was a kid stopped becoming as effective, I was able to, because of my mother's care and guidance and faith, step into kind of start to develop who I am today. I have a lot more compassion, a lot less judgment of myself and others. And it allowed me to do this actual job, because I would not be doing this actual job without my faith.
Amazing. Yeah, I'm telling you, without faith, But with faith, we can do all things.
So true. It's the funniest story because I was working with a business coach, and he looked at my resume and said to me, "You know, what you're trying to do here, I could teach you that. But I think your skills would be really well used if you were to help business people write their books." So I thought, that's the silliest thing I've ever heard. Said that to everyone I ran into for a week. And at the end of the week, I had 3 clients.
Wow.
And
So
that
what
is,
were you doing before?
well, that's a Jesus moment right there because,
Yes, it is.
and you can either listen to that or not listen to that. And I did lean into it. I had done 25 years in television news as a writer, a producer, and then a manager. I had come out of that and started teaching college composition. I got a degree in teaching college composition, my master's degree. So then I was teaching at the college level English. And that is the point at which I made this switch from that to helping people write their books. And it's been an absolutely stretching journey. I've had to learn so many things, but I get to work with people on projects which they're so passionate about. And I'm really passionate about people telling their stories and taking control of their stories. I mean, it was my experience as a young person. And I don't know if your family was like this, but there's things you're not supposed to talk about that happen in your family. You're not supposed to talk about this or that or the other. And when I finally got past those artificial barriers and told my story, which is, yeah, so my dad was an alcoholic and it wasn't always pretty. And here's how it affected me. Instantly, all of these people I'd known, like, oh, me too, and my cousin or my sister, my neighbor. And I had felt kind of isolated in this for a long time. And the truth was so different. So I think there's so much power in people sharing their stories. It gave me internal power as well as it gave other people clearly the freedom to start sharing something that they hadn't for a long time.
And so you've written a book as well.
I have not written a book. I have been thoroughly enjoying watching all of my authors write their books. When I was in my master's degree program, that was the thing that I enjoyed more than anything else. I enjoyed digging into people's work, figuring out what was working, what wasn't, and giving them advice. And I would spend hours with their documents and hours with their drafts. And what turned out to happen is that outside of class, people started bringing me their work because I liked it and I was serious about it. I wasn't just looking over their work because that was a class assignment. It's because I really enjoyed it. And I was giving them feedback that allowed them to write in a more clear way and write in a better way. And those two things just really matched up.
Wow. You know what, Donna? You need to write a book.
I will. I have more than one book in me. That's for sure.
Yes, you do. I'm sure.
But like, as I said, this was, I did not go out saying I was going to go. That was not the journey I was on. It was completely given to me. So I'm trying really hard to stay clear on that mission, and that the time will come when I get to put my story down for sure. And right now, it's really important for me to let people know that when they don't think their story is important, that is the hardest thing for me to hear. When people say to me things like, well, I didn't really do anything, there's nobody who would really want to listen to my story. And I have to ask people this question. So if you had a book from your grandparents or your great-grandparents about their life, where they grew up, what life was like for them, maybe it was just after slavery ended and how things were changing, what obstacles did they run into, what did they learn about themselves, what was it like raising your parents or your grandparents? What would a story like that be worth to you? I mean, that's priceless.
It is.
So you don't have to have done anything to create a story that someone else would find valuable.
Right, absolutely. And I want to back up for a minute about alcoholism.
Mhm.
And it destroys so many families. Now that wasn't a issue in my immediate family. However, I have relatives where I mean, it has really created major problems, and the impact that it has on children is just, really sad, really sad. And so I'm glad that you were able to recognize, see some things, and move beyond having that experience with your father.
Well, we call ourselves, when we are adult children of alcoholics, we call it, we're in recovery, because it's a disease,
It is.
but it's a disease that affects the entire family,
It does.
and it actually makes the entire family sick. And so you don't ever not become an alcoholic. You become sober, you become someone who's in recovery, and it's really not any different for people who've grown up in those environments. You were raised to look at the world a different way. You were raised with a radar about how is this person coming home today, and whose
Yes,
responsibility is it to take care of things, and that it creates an unhealthy way of, it's healthy for the moment, it's safe for your moment, it's what you need in the moment. But when you go out to the regular world, those coping skills become not good coping skills for the world. So you really, as a, it requires understanding that you yourself have been affected, and then you get to work on yourself and make yourself well.
absolutely. Absolutely. And you have done that for yourself, and now you're helping other people to recognize their stories, because everybody has a story. Everybody has a story. And even though one may feel that it's insignificant, just like you felt, I can't tell people about this. And then you found out there are so many other people that are, dealing with the same kinds of things. And I am convinced that a lot of times the things that we're going through, it is because it's not for us, it's for somebody else. And so being able to encourage people to share their stories, I think, is wonderful. And I want to encourage you to get your book done.
Well, thank you. It is something that continues to come up, and I am not saying no to it. I am just trying to embrace each of the lessons that I'm learning along this journey of mine, and I fully believe that when that time comes, I will get that done. What you say is so true. I think shame a lot of times keeps people from talking about things that they think were difficult. There is a thing that people do where they feel they've lived through it, it's over, and we need to just put it in the past. What that doesn't allow us to do is take what our story, which is powerful, and use it to uplift other people and help other people. All of the stories that we read, in the Bible, they're in stories. They're in stories so we can understand and connect with the human beings who are telling their story. And it's no different for us. In fact, our stories take those struggles into the modern world and make them more accessible for people. And the thing that holds people up a lot of times is that they don't know where to start, and they're not sure what to do. And there are people out there to like to take advantage of people when they are trying to do something and they're passionate about it. But that's why I eventually developed a team of people who just, our mission is to support writers from whatever that idea is that they have, all the way through when they're ready to go publish the book. I don't publish the book, but the experts that I have working with me are very much like your pillars in your program, right? I want them to educate the writers about the publishing process so that they understand which form of publishing would be best for them, what editors do, what publishers do, so that they can make really good decisions for themselves for their book, because everyone's journey is unique. You know, I've had a grandmother who wrote a book for her grandchildren. She doesn't need to pay thousands and thousands of dollars to publish a book for her grandchild.
Right.
So we make the if we educate the author, they're going to make the decision that's best for them.
So
Right?
what route did she take, that grandmother?
Oh, that's a self-publishing route, and you know, the choice is either you do it yourself, you take a course at community college, right, and that's your project. When you're done with your course, you have your book, or you can get your grandchildren to do it for you. I mean, there's so many different ways to do that, but that dream of hers did not require thousands and thousands of dollars to make that come true. On the other hand, I worked with a cookbook editor. A cookbook. I worked with a caterer chef who was writing a cookbook. So he wrote a cookbook and he wanted to know about, he was getting ready to go find an agent, because you need an agent to get one of those big publishing companies to publish your book. So I just asked him some questions. I said, so to the chef, you have work on the West Coast, Chicago, Dallas, Philadelphia, you know, you're going to do your restaurants everywhere. And he said, oh, no, I'm a caterer and my main business is Atlanta. I'm like, are you looking to expand into those other cities? And he said, no, I'm going to be like the guy, the go-to guy in Atlanta. So then this is the thing, right? If he had gone straight out to find a publisher, they might take his money and put on the kind of a program that you'd have to spend to get yourself seen in all those markets. I was like, why don't you think about taking your money out of the publishing realm and putting it into the book marketing realm, and just get yourself the best book marketer in Atlanta, and make sure you're on every radio show, on every TV show, and every newspaper. If there's an opening at an event, you're the guy. If you spend your money on that, then your book then it goes into action. It becomes a mission for you. It becomes the thing that you can take and grow yourself, because the book is leading the way. That's kind of how I look at it. And that's why I want to introduce authors while they're still writing to the book to all of the things that they need to learn, so when it's time to publish, they can make a really good decision for themselves.
That's awesome. So what route did he take?
He did end up self-publishing his book, and that saved him money, and it allowed him to use the book as the tool that he needed for his business. And I feel like that's a question. I went to a conference recently, and there were a lot of people there, and their job is to get you on, be the bestseller this and the bestseller that. And that's great. But what I ask people is, if you're in business, do you want to be the bestseller list? Do you want 5,000 books sold, or do you want 5,000 clients coming through the door? And most of them are like, well, if you put it that way,
right.
I want the 5,000 clients. And so my team works with people to create a book that's going to, that's the whole part with my 3 keys, is to create a book that speaks directly to that person that you want to change their life. You got to know how you want to change their life first. That's one. And then you need to make a plan to get it written. And then you need to make a mission for this book to make that change in that person's life.
Okay. So a question. Why is it important for writers and authors and creatives to think about monetizing their work beyond just writing it?
So, if you are writing a book for your grandchildren, you're not thinking about monetizing that book for them, right? That's not your dream, and that's
Right.
not the mission of the book. If you're writing a memoir or a legacy book to specifically send to the next generation your wisdom, your knowledge, give them a rooting, a good sense of who they are, that pride when someone tries to knock them down because they know where they've come from. You are not in that to monetize that. But if I have one author, she wrote a memoir. She had a very difficult time. She grew up in a city during the middle of the crack epidemic in the 80s, and that directly impacted her life. And she had talked about coming through that and how she was able to thrive even through all of the terrible things that happened to her. She was just looking to tell her story, but there's a bigger mission, and we kept talking about that bigger mission, and she stepped into it now. She did not want to go out and speak about it, but every time she takes that book out and she goes to groups and she talks about it, she touches people's lives. I sit there and I watch the crowd watching her, listening to her story, and they're actively moved by what she has to say. There's so much power in her words that she didn't know that she had. She was just looking at herself as a survivor, and really she is an inspirer. And that is what putting her story into a book, and then taking that book and taking her voice out. It took some bravery to do that. She's a very brave person, but I see her change lives every time she talks about her book and her story.
Wow. Wow. So that's amazing. That's amazing. So I could sit here and listen to your stories about the people you've helped and make that the show. So let me ask you, and so in essence, that's a way for her to grow her audience, or how is that one of the ways to grow an audience so that you do sell more?
So she, as I said, was not looking to sell. For her, she's now been able to see the power of her words and see the power of her story. And I believe what she's stepped into is not so much it's going to be something that's going to make her money, but it's going to be something that's going to change lives.
Yes.
Now, there are those of us who have businesses, and our businesses run on having clients or influence. So that whole framework, again, the first part is you really do need to know who you're speaking to and what is the transformation you want for that person. And we spend a lot of time at the very beginning of our process getting really clear on that, because once you know how your mission is going to transform someone's lives, then we can figure out what the chapters are going to be and all that good stuff. And then you would go work with all the experts and the other writers, and they all support each other as they write their books, so they're not in it alone. And that is so helpful for them in having feedback as they're writing and support as they're writing. Then at the end, then you're developing a plan to put that book into action. Do you want to speak on stages? How can we use the book to get that to happen to you? Do you want to have an online course? How do we get that book to work for your outline course? Do you want to go and work with government workers as a leadership coach? What would that look like with your book? How does that book help that mission? So then you need to have a unique plan to what the mission is of your book, so that you can reach your people and make that transformation.
Awesome. That's awesome. So you feel like you just kind of, but you were directed to do this. Holy Spirit.
I totally was. I totally was. And I started out like everybody else does. I was working with people one-on-one. just me and just you, and I'll talk. But it was what I loved to do. As I said already, that I loved that digging into people's work. But I could see that the struggle came when it was time to write, and that it was hard for people. They have lives, they have jobs, they have other things that they're trying to do while they're writing. And I kept looking for different ways to give them more support as that was happening. And eventually I came up with the 3 keys framework. And then I structured my business on that so that people start out with 5 sessions with me to really get everything mapped out in a blueprint and just all that clarity. But then you gotta write it. And that's where they go into a group program with the other writers. They actually, my writers actually hold writing rooms for each other. So they'll open up a Zoom, people will come and they'll hang out and they'll turn their microphones off, but they'll sit there and they'll write together. And that
Wow.
helps with accountability. It helps them keep on a schedule to keep writing and develop that writing habit. And then my experts step in with mini workshops all month long that people can choose to go to, where they learn about the things that are going to get you the readership. Because you can have, if you just wait, like, oh, I'm going to wait till I publish the book. That's great. You could have a book that could save everyone's life and not one person will know about it. That book is not going to be able to fulfill its mission. So my experts help people learn about the tech. So funnels and email lists and CRMs. And I have a speaking coach who works with them, who teaches them how to talk about their book. Not I'm going to read you my chapter and here's what's in my book, but how to talk about their story so that people want to read their book. So all of these experts are in that program while they're writing the book. So they're writing the book and getting a following. We have social media experts working with them. I have somebody who is a specialist in book launches. There's a lady who can turn your book into movies and TV. All of those things, all those experts are in that middle part of the program so that when they're done, they have an idea of how they want to proceed, but they also have a following already.
Wow. So all of these components are a part of your package.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And because I want them to be held all the way through. And the thing that I have, people will come to me and they'll say, well, I went with this company and they said, fill out this form, fill in all your information here, and you'll have a book in a month. Great. So they have a book in a month because they filled in all the forms. And now you can pay us some more money and we'll run a marketing campaign for you. A marketing campaign based on what? Like, did you go over who the person's audience was? Did you help them in that month to grow their audience? No, they're just going to take your money and run some ads to the general public. That isn't a strategy. That's a money grab, in my opinion. And so my authors wouldn't do that because they would have been educated during the process to know it's for my grandkids. I'm going to go take this course here and I'm going to do it myself. Or I don't want to publish it myself. I now know what a publisher does. So I know what the price range should be. So I can make the right choice when I pick someone to put it up on Amazon for me. But education is power. And it's important for me to empower my authors so that they can make good decisions when it's time for them to pick a publisher and move to that next part.
Let's say you have someone they've already written their book,
Mm-hmm.
but those other pieces and parts that you provide, do you dissect your services or is an all-in-one kind of thing?
I actually do exactly that. So because I want to reach as many people as possible, and I know that maybe someone can't do the whole program together. So, you could just do the group program month to month if you wanted to. And you could just do, at the end, I do a 2-day marketing seminar. We have one coming up in October. We do it like twice a year. And if you had a book, as I call, like, the book is DOA, it's dead on Amazon.
I love it.
So if your book is dead on Amazon, but you want to resuscitate it, you want to bring it back to life, you could go to that seminar. And that might be the first time you ever had somebody really challenge you and talk to you about, who is this person you're writing for? What's the transformation you want for them? What's the mission of this book? And then the goal at the end of that 2-day seminar is to have your unique plan mapped out.
And so if a person was interested in that, or actually they can go to your website and find all the information and all the things.
Absolutely.
And so you can either email her at donnanewson@ymail.com, or go to her website, www.writejournals.com. And we have a listener, Stephanie Treasure. Thank you for listening and share. And please share and let other people know what we're talking about. And a lot of times there are people watching that I don't know who's watching. And so thank you, Stephanie, for being here. And please share and continue with your comments. If you have any questions that you yourself want to ask Donna, by all means, put it in the chat. All right. So that's awesome that you have. Now, there's an exciting thing that you do, that you take people to Europe to tell us about this trip that you plan and that you do with prospective writers. So share that with us.
So that's the same thing as that happened with me stepping into this business. I was helping people write their books. I had been doing it for, I don't know, about 2 years. We'd gotten through COVID. There was a lady that I'd met online during COVID, and she was getting ready to write a book. Something happened and she had to stop, but she had been running trips to Italy, heritage trips and cooking excursions to this little town in Italy where her father was from and her cousins live. So it's like her family town. So she said to me, I run these cooking trips to Italy and I want to expand my business. Would you want to come and do a writing workshop in Italy? To which I said, oh, yes. Yes, I would like to do that.
Oh, my goodness.
Yep.
Oh, so, that's amazing.
I know. So it's the same thing. I didn't go out, knocking on doors. Someone came to me because I had worked with them and they knew my heart, and they said they wanted me to come into their business and help them add this element to their business. So she still does heritage trips and she still does cooking trips. And now she's added a writing workshop that you can go to. And it's not a get on and off the bus, see the sights kind of a trip. This is a little town. There's about 1,000 people who live in this town, and they all then know each other. So when you go to the town, it doesn't matter who you are. They know if you're there or not, and they'll come up to you like, hey, and you'll say, the lady's name is Dorina Lantella. And so you go, oh, I'm with Dorina. And they're like, oh, Dorina. Dorina brings trips there. So they know you're with Dorina. They know you're on a trip. And they're either her cousin. She went to school with them. Their cousin lives next door. So you're a family immediately. It is such a safe, nurturing environment, and we go there. We really live like Italians for 10 days. We have our sessions in the morning after everybody's had their breakfast at their bed and breakfast, and then we have our writing sessions, and then we have this long Italian lunches, like an hour and a half. It just eating and talking and enjoying each other's company, because that's the root of Dorina's company, which is to bring people back to the table, that making family the center of everything, because that is how she feels we've become less strong as a society,
Yes, I
by getting
agree.
away from eating at the table. And so you get to experience what that's really like from an Italian perspective. And then we go to a winery. The ladies in town show us how to make pasta by hand. There's so many wonderful little trips that we go on, but we do have time to relax and write. And I do sessions during our time there, and it's just a great way to relax, be creative, and reconnect with yourself.
Oh, that is awesome. And how you do this once a year?
We usually do it in the fall, sometime in October. That generally means that most of our attendees don't have young children, because the kids are usually back in school by then. But it does mean that the prices for flights have come down because we're out of tourist season. The temperatures there are like they are much on the East Coast, so it's fall, so you get those fall temperatures. It's a little cooler. You maybe need a sweater in the afternoon, but it's not, the weather's not uncomfortable in any way.
Now, does it snow in that area? And do they get the four? They do get the four seasons, I assume, in that
They
area.
do, and it could, if you were there and it was particularly cold. It's up on a little mountain, so you probably could get some snow. We're not usually there during snow season. I mean, it can snow in the Northeast in October, but that's not the normal pattern. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. And so, how many of these trips have you made?
So I've gone twice, and looking for more people this year. We have people signed up, but I'm looking for a few more to make it a full trip, so we can make sure to go. It's a wonderful experience. It's not like one that you would get if you were going. I mean, I've been to Italy as a tourist, and it's totally fun. And you can do that. You can even tag that onto the trip. But this experience is different because you really are getting a chance to see the culture and live in the culture.
That's amazing. That's absolutely beautiful. I'm going to pull up your logo, and I'd like for you to kind of share with us what made you create this logo like this.
Well, I hope you can see it's totally a homemade job. Um, so some of it is that I knew that it was about writing, so I could put writing implements on it and do all of that. But really, what I was more interested in was talking about the fact that the act of writing itself can take us on a journey within ourselves.
Yes.
And it is also a way for us to think and think through things and work things out. And so I see writing itself as a journey, in addition to all of the things that creating pieces that you write and sharing them with the world can take you out. So the circle is not closed,
No, it isn't.
but it's a protective space when you write, but then you have the choice to share it. And once you share it, then you really have the choice to change people's lives.
I love it. I love it. I'm glad I asked you about your logo. I love it. I love your description of why you created it the way that you did. That's awesome. And tell us some more stories about your.
Well, let me ask you, when you're writing books, what is it that brings you to write your books?
You know, all of the books that I have, and I've basically co-written books, okay? I've been in anthologies. And basically I've been asked to write in these books. But as a result of doing so, I am sharing my story. But it's really, I have three books in my head. One is a children's book called I Believe in Me. And it's basically a poem that I want to turn into a book. It's already written, and I have reached out to a publisher regarding it.
Mhm.
I have a See Your Window, See Your Life is also a poem, but it's not only a book, but it's a workbook as well to help people begin to look at their lives, how they see their lives, how they want to see their lives, and also identify the gap in between. So it's a workbook as well as a book. So for me, and it's interesting because when I was in Atlanta, I did a vision board and I wasn't writing at the time. I did a vision board, but I put on that board author. And then after I did that, people came to me to ask me to write, And so that's how that's happened. But again, and I do want to write a book, a parent guide using biblical scriptures called Instilling Greatness, which is, that's what I do. So that, and it would be called Instilling Greatness, a Parent's Guide for Children Under 12. But I haven't started writing it yet. But that's one of the things that I want to do.
And it's interesting because the people that I work with generally end up writing either a business book, some sort of a memoir or legacy, or a children's book, but all with the same goal of changing someone's life. And that's what I hear from you. That's what I hear from you.
Yes, exactly. I want to change lives, and I do want to write, and I need to get on it. I'm 72 years old. I don't need to be waiting to do what I say I want to do. So that's one of the things that's on my bucket list, and to travel. And so, how many people are you looking for this trip? What is the minimum number that you need to make this trip?
6 is the minimum. I don't like to go much above, like 8 would be perfect. I could do a little bit above 8, but 6 would be the minimum, and then 8 would be ideal.
Well, if anyone is interested in going to Italy to go through a writer's journey, you want to contact Donna Knutson at blindmail.com. Check out her website at www.writejourneys.com. That's amazing. And I have a commercial that I need to play. So let me do that right quick, and then we'll come back.
Mama Knows creates high quality products that are available to be used on multiple textures of hair. Her goal is to bridge the gap, to stop people from having to use multiple products because of families with multiple hair types. Her products are currently being used on men, women, children of all ethnicities. Mama Knows products are available at www.mamaknowsproducts.com. That's www.mamaknowsproducts.com. You can also find her on Instagram at Mama Knows Products, because Mama knows what you need.
Check out Mama Knows Products, because these products, they smell great, they work well on your hair, and the beauty of it is it's all types of ethnicities that these products are for. hair shampoos, conditioners, elixirs, oils, moisturizers. I mean, she has a whole line and they smell so great. You want to check out mamaknowsproducts.com. Why? Because Mama knows what you need. So check out mamaknowsproducts.com. All right, we're back. Let me put this down. And let me also put it in the chat so that people can check it out. All right. So tell me some more about what you're doing.
Well, I created a pamphlet that kind of helps writers, people who want to write, get a little bit of that information that I talked about. It was important for me to have people be educated, and that's the free gift I want to offer to your audience. It's at supportforwriters.com, and it basically will go through all of the different people that you would want to put on your team if you decided you wanted to do this on your own. Because so as we've talked about, people have different price points where they can come in, but everyone deserves a little help. You have to write it yourself, but you don't have to write it alone. So it talks about what editors, there are different kinds of editors. There are developmental editors who help you get your head around the story. There are copy editors, they're line editors, they're proofreaders. And I would say if you are going to cut corners on a writing project, don't cut the editing. Cut Absolutely. Something else, but never cut the editing. The thing about writing is you know what you want to say. And if you're not getting good feedback, then you might leave something out that your reader needs to understand what you really wanted to say. And the other thing I think is really critical for people who are writing is really spending some serious time with who you're writing for. Now, I'll tell a story about that. So one of my writers, she was of Indian heritage, and she was going to write this book for Indian girls because she didn't see a whole lot of girls from India in the stories when she was growing up. So she was writing this children's book, and she got stuck. And when I did end up talking with her, she said, I've put this in, and it's about the sari that they wear. And I said, remember who your ideal reader was. Your ideal reader is a 9-year-old Indian girl. A 9-year-old Indian girl is going to know what a sari is because her mom has them in her closet. And she's probably going in there like we all go and get our mom's fancy, dresses and put them on, getting in trouble for it. But so she was all stuck in trying to explain what the sari was. Once she realized you're writing it for your ideal reader, take that out. And then she said, okay, but what if a little girl who's not from India wants to read the story? I said, great, we'll go to the back of the book and we'll put a little appendix in the back of the book. And you can explain what a sari is. And you can explain what the different foods that they're eating if they don't know what those are. But if your ideal reader does not need you to, you're going to take them out of the story if you start explaining to them what a sari is. So once you really know who you're writing for, it helps the editor help you keep your story on track and streamlined and put things in that you need and not have extra things be in the story. That's always a really good place to begin.
So do you have editors on your team?
Yes, I do.
Give me a rundown of all the people you have on your team. That is just amazing that you're collaborating and partnering with so many others to make sure that what you're doing is effective.
So the reason I put it together the way that I did is, again, because I do work with a lot of small business people. They really want to write books, and for different reasons. So I have two book editors who work on my team. I have book publisher who works on my team. Um, I have a podcast strategist. So if someone thought either they want to be on podcasts because they want to use it as a way to talk about their book and get the word out, or maybe they want to start their own, so she can talk to them about what that looks like. I have a TV and film producer and a director, and she makes people's books into TV and film projects. I have a course designer. So if people want to make an online course, a lot of times the courses, if you've ever taken one, some of them are kind of boring. Some of them are a little complicated. She helps you design a course that people would really understand. It would engage them. And so we have a course designer to help people with that. I have a digital marketer who's also a business coach. So all of these platforms that we go on, they have different rules, and those rules change a lot. So you will want to know, on this platform, if you post all the time, they're going to post your stuff more. Where if you go on this platform and you're posting all the time, they're going to shut you down. So you really need to know what the rules are from platform to platform. On this platform, they want you to write lots. On this platform, they only want you to write a little, and they won't give you any more space. Or they won't run your article as high if it has a lot of words. So someone to really help you understand all of these things.
Wow.
That's what she does. I have a former journalist who's a freelance writer who works with us. The other place where people get in trouble is attribution, especially today, and especially with the use of AI.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm glad you mentioned AI, because I wanted to ask you about that as well.
So if you are using someone's quote, if you are using someone's material because it supports what you're doing, you need to tell everyone that's someone else's material.
Absolutely.
So she helps you understand when that's important and why that's important, and how you can get that set up. I have an attorney because you need to know about royalties, and I have a speaking coach, again, because some people want to go out and they want to talk about their book, because that's going to get them more people following them as they go along. This is all before you've even written the book.
That's amazing. That's amazing. You are doing an awesome work. That is so amazing. So anyone who would be interested in writing a book and they don't even know how to begin, you are the go-to person for that. And so let me pull your information up again so that people understand. Donna is the expert. She is the expert. You need to go to email her at donnaknutson@ymail.com, or check out her website at www.writejourneys.com. And if you want to book her to speak, you can go to Donna@writejourneys.com.
Yeah. And the wonderful thing about it is we get into trouble when we think we know everything, or we think we can do everything. And this is the antithesis of that. I am saying I need experts. I can do a little here, and I know a little about this and that. But if I really want someone to help you, I want someone who's doing that all the time. So this allows you to have that team without having to search them down.
Yeah.
And it's a group program, so you're sharing the cost of paying someone for all of that expertise, and that is what I truly hope for people who join the program, whether they do the entire program, all the 3 pieces, or if they just come in and they do the group program, or they just come in for the 2-day intensive workshop to create their marketing plan.
That's beautiful. And she's got a free gift for you. Go to www.supportforwriters.com. www.supportforwriters.com and get this free gift, especially if you're thinking about it, but you're not really sure. This gift is going to give you some information and some insights even before you start the process of contacting her to help you get this book going. Well, that is amazing.
And the best thing you can do if you're thinking about it and you're unsure is to read. The more you read, the better writer you will be. The more you read, the better editor you will be. And being able to read in different genres. A genre would be like romance is a genre. And then there's subgenres. So Christian romance is a genre. Mystery is a genre. There's young adult. There's so many different like different areas that people go into. Self-help.
Yes.
But once you start getting clear on what you want to write, start to get clear then on what your books in your genre look like. They'll look a certain way. They might have certain colors or certain the way the font, what kind of the script, how is that written out? They might be kind of similar within a genre. Romance novels are famous for having steamy pictures on the front, so that you can instantly recognize what genre it's in, and that's true across them. So if you're thinking about it and you're don't talk yourself out of it, start to do a little research, just read as much as you can, and that will be a good way for you to begin to start putting your ideas in order. Seeing how ideas are put in other books will give you a sense of what people expect. And you can break out of a format, but you can't break out of a format if you don't know it exists. So that's a good place to begin.
And that's a great way to conclude. Is there one other thing or anything else you want our audience to know before we end?
Again, I'm just always looking for ways to help people. If you just have questions, feel free to contact me and I will do my best to answer them if I can. And write your story. Don't talk yourself out of it. You have a lived experience and it matters.
Yes, you have a lived experience and it matters. Your story matters. So check out the free gift and also contact her. Check out her website. I'm putting all these things in the chat so that people can copy and paste. Copy and paste. So, okay. Well, before we end, I do want to share that there is a family summit coming up on September 15th, 16th, and 17th. And I want to encourage you, and why isn't this showing? Okay, there it is. Family Powerhouse. Greatness starts at home. We are looking for speakers to be a part of this. If you are interested in being a part of this summit, then contact me by going to bit.ly Vera Thomas, and let's schedule a time to have a discussion. And I'm looking for my link so that I can put it there. bit.ly Vera Thomas, and let's talk about you being on this summit with us. And there it is. Okay. So again, God bless you. And Donna, I want to thank you so much for being my guest. One of the things I just absolutely love, I love your spirit. You have such a calming spirit, and I absolutely love it. And I thank you so much for being here. And you guys that are listening, either now or later, please like, subscribe, and comment on the Vera Thomas Show on YouTube. Thank you very much. And let me end by putting your information back up here. And again, thank you so much for being here. God
Thanks
bless
so
you.
much for having me. I really appreciated this chat.
Yes, I appreciate you being here. So God bless you. And if you would hold on so that I can close out. All right, you guys. Thank you very much for tuning in. And God bless you all. And don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe to the Vera Thomas Show. God bless you all and have a great weekend.
Let's talk about it on the Vera Thomas Show. The Vera Thomas Show.